Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for coming in today to testify on this critical issue. Getting a long-term bipartisan reauthorization of the National Flood Insurance Program is not just vital to the country, but it is incredibly important to the people of New Jersey, my state. More than 225,000 homeowners in New Jersey rely on the National Flood Insurance Program to protect their families. Towns in the 5th District, like West Milford and Lodi, are flood-prone. When their homes have been damaged or destroyed due to the flood damage, they have been able to repair or rebuild them thanks to the National Flood Insurance Program. I've seen firsthand how essential this program is to the people of New Jersey's 5th Congressional District. They cannot continue to live in uncertainty when it comes to flood insurance. They need more common sense reforms, and we need to deliver them through a long-term reauthorization that provides responsible governance and doesn't have policyholders drowning in premiums. We must utilize innovative technologies to improve mapping, modernize flood insurance, and save taxpayers hard-earned dollars. I look forward to your answers on how to improve the National Flood Insurance Program, and appreciate you taking the time today so far to tell us how we can work with our colleagues here on both sides of the aisle to get this reauthorization done. If I can ask a specific question about Hurricane Sandy, because in late October 2012, as many of you probably know, Superstorm Sandy made landfall in the United States. The storm, which is the second costliest hurricane in United States history, resulted in more than $65 billion in damages and destroyed or damaged 346,000 homes in New Jersey. New Jersey felt the destructive power like no other state. Economic losses were estimated to be approximately $30 billion. Businesses were destroyed, people lost their jobs and homes, and most regrettably, 37 people lost their lives. Yet, in the aftermath of Sandy, numerous policyholders have claimed that they may have been underpaid. There have been findings of fraud, altered engineering reports, and inadequacies in FEMA's oversight and controls. This is beyond unacceptable. Can you all discuss some of the steps that FEMA has taken to address these problems and explain what more needs to be done to prevent this from ever happening again? And I'll defer to any one of you who wants to take this. Mr. Heydrich, thank you.
Sure, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
What happened in Superstorm Sandy is unacceptable, and everybody in the industry would agree with that. However, since then, we've had actually 6 storms in the last 2 years. Harvey and Maria, in particular, the NFIP received 120,000 claims, settled 92% of them within the first 90 days, paid over $10 billion in claims, with less than 1% of those claims going to litigation. I think that result shows a lot of progress that the NFIP has made. It is a different management team that's there. It's not the same people that's there. They've got better technology that gives them better data that allows them to provide better oversight of the Write Your Own program and provide better solutions to consumers.
So you can get ahead of fraud, and some of the things that we found in Sandy, we figured out what was causing some of those issues?
Every insurance company has to deal with fraud in every industry.
Right.
But having better technology that provides FEMA management with better data and more timely data, during Sandy, I believe they were looking at information that was 6 months old to try to manage their day-to-day operations.
And if I could turn to flood mapping in the time that I've left, I've heard from a number of my constituents when they believe their property is being improperly mapped, by FEMA. I know we've addressed this a bit because typically the only recourse for these constituents is costly and very time-consuming, as you know. And in the 21st century, there's no reason why we can't utilize 2019 technology like GPS mapping to improve the way FEMA maps property in New Jersey's 5th and across the country, right? We obviously, on our phones, we can do incredible mapping. There's no reason why we can't actually figure this out for the insurance program. Do you think NFIP's map revision process can be improved, and do you support the reforms that improve the NFIP's map revision process? Mr. O'Mara, thank you.
So in my previous life, I was Secretary of Natural Resources in Delaware, and one of the things we did is we used LiDAR data to have kind of 2-meter data for the entire state for a couple $1 million. If you had property-level data across the entire country, you would lose all those fights over appeals. Your folks wouldn't have to provide their own maps. Folks wouldn't have to spend hundreds of dollars to get surveyors to do the additional work. If you had that level of data with transparency, you would transform the ability for folks to understand the risks they're facing.
Right, it's there, right? This data is there.
Yeah, so some places you're going to have to fill in the gaps, but yeah.
Right, Ms. Guzman, did you want to add to that?
Absolutely. Also, the buyer could do due diligence. People could actually make an informed decision before they make a purchase because they could actually see what the risks are up front. Without that data, right now, they're actually kind of flying blind.
Right, it's a guessing game.
Yes.
Right. Ms. Smith?
I would add just a caution that I think we now know that where it rains, it can flood. And I think one of the problems that we have is that people assume that the maps are a prediction. And the maps can give you a relative sense of risk, but they truly can't predict precisely. So we need improved maps, and I do believe FEMA's moving on using new technologies, but we need to stay on top of the risk.
Thank you.